thank you for watching this video, which is all about the changes to the international standard ISO 20121 the Event Sustainability Management System. So today I'm going to talk to you about the update to the ISO 20121 known as the FDIS version of the standard, which was published in the back end of 2023. And it's being voted on at the minute in 2024 in time for the Paris Olympics in the summer. I'd like to highlight that the International Standards Organisation, every 10 years or so, likes to revise and redraft their standards just to make them more modern and incorporate, new ways of thinking, new technologies into their standards. In terms of the changes to the FDIS, there's a few new words that have been put in, clause numbers have been changed around, but the plan, the do, the check and act cycle is still there, and it still starts on 4.1 context of the organisation and finishes on clause 10 improvement. As you would expect, it has gone through the Annex SL process. So as a subject matter expert on sustainable events, I was invited to be part of the technical committee to discuss the changes to the standard, and all of the technical committee members are allowed to vote on the updates to the standard, and the voting is due to close very, very soon. So it's quite an exciting time because we're going to have the final version of the ISO 20121.2024 issued imminently. So the first potential change which is coming through is on clause 4.5, Sustainable Development Principles. And as you may recall, the 2012-1 is a values-based standard which covers stewardship, transparency, inclusivity and integrity. And the standard maintains those 4 core values, but it allows you to document those 4 core values and link it to your mission, your vision and your values proposition statement as an event owner, event manager, or anyone in the event supply chain. So clause 4.5 has been expanded to allow you to think about your mission, your values and your proposition statement, and to link it through to those 4 core values so that those core values really do start to shine in your event sustainability management system. So moving on to clause 5.2, policy. This has been expanded in the FDIS to include reference, where applicable, to a 3 to 10 year business plan, mission or values proposition statement, which will allow you to pull through the threads of sustainable development issues into your policy and allows you to really explain and articulate how you're going to embed sustainable development in your organisation. The sustainable events policy still needs to refer to your statement of purpose and values. Moving on to clause 6.1.1, sustainable development issues and evaluation. This clause has been extended, and the environmental bullet point now includes reference to climate change and also environmental resilience and digital responsibility. So it is possible to use digital tools to reduce your environmental footprint for your events. And as we've all seen, we can have hybrid events, use virtual reality and augmented reality in the event space as well. Likewise, the social element of issue identification evaluation has also been expanded to include mental health, child rights, human rights, and more of a focus on social justice for your events. So the FDIS contains a brand new clause, 6.3, which is all around the management of change or planning for change. And as we know, if you work in the event management space, change is forever happening around us and to our events. So it's good that the committee has allowed a new clause to go in around the management of change. Moving on to clause 7.4, communication. This has been slightly amended to allow you to connect back to your sustainable development policy for your events. And it more explicitly asks for information about your mission, your vision and your values. So again, communicating that and links back to the policy clause. Clause 7.4 has also been expanded to ensure that nobody is misled around your event, environmental, social, or economic benefits. So it's basically encouraging you to be honest about your communications and to document your communications and make sure there's no greenwashing effectively around your communications for your event. So clause number 9 has been changed quite a bit, and it starts now on 9.1, which is monitoring, measurement, analysis, 9.2, which is internal audit, and 9.3, which is management review. So this change has moved the original 9.1, which was performance against the governing principles of sustainable development, to 9.2.3. So the clause on management review has now been separated out into 3 sub-clauses, 9.3.1 general, 9.3.2 the inputs to the management review, and 9.3.3 the outputs of the management review. So there's still a requirement to do the management review, which is great, and that's a good opportunity for your team to go through: have you achieved your objectives and targets? Do you need to reset your sustainable events policy? The final chapter of the FDIS is around improvement, and unusually 10.1 is now continual improvement and 10.2 is the non-conformity corrective action clause. Now it might be, by the time this is voted on, that that number order is switched, because as we know, the final clause of most ISOs is either 10.2 continual improvement or 10.1 continual improvement. So let's see what happens with the final vote. So overall, folks, the FDIS version of ISO 20121 has not had major surgery to it. It still follows the plan, do, check, act cycle, and what's really nice is now it's pulling in more on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and other standards as well, such as sustainable procurement, for example. And the bibliography at the back of the standard has been greatly extended and enhanced, which is good if you want to go and check out other references, other sources for sustainability and you're not sure where to go. So in conclusion, the ISO 20121 Event Sustainability Management System Framework has gone through a technical revision in 2023, and the final vote is coming up shortly in 2024. So please watch this space for the final version. And obviously you can integrate ISO 20121 with other standards as well. So here at Crowbury Consulting, we have over 20 years experience of working on international standards and over 13 years experience of working with the ISO 20121 standard, going back to even before it was an ISO. And we provide training, auditing and consultancy to a wide variety of standards. So please get in touch with us through email, on our socials or through the website, which will appear at the end of this video. And thank you again for choosing to beam in today and to listening to the changes that are coming on the ISO 20121 standard. Thank you very much.